Good morning. Good morning. It's good to be back on your radio with the program Integrity Watch. Integrity Watch is a 1 hour radio program brought to you by the Center for Transparency and Accountability at 96.1 FM, 11 to 12 noon. It is a key advocacy tool that provides essential information around the fight against corruption, national integrity building efforts, as well as promotes the culture of accountability, transparency, integrity, and evidence-based decision making across all sectors of Liberia. Under Center's National Integrity Building and Anti-Corruption Program, funded by the government and people of Sweden through the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, or SIDA, the radio program serves as an engagement, coordination, and advocacy platform that rallies citizens and other stakeholders' support for the fight against corruption and bad governance. As part of this program, Center has established the Advocacy and Legal Advice Center known as ELAC. The ELAC is an independent platform that enables citizens to freely report and seek redress of corruption and other integrity-related issues. At ELAC, there are a team of professionals, including lawyers, who are ready and waiting to respond to whatever complaint you may file. So we encourage our citizens to take advantage of this process so that we all can do this together. There are different means through which we encourage you to report to our ELAC, either via email. The email address is elac@center.org.lr. It's ALAC@cental.org.lr. Or Facebook is just Center ELAC, CENTALAC. The hotline number 4432. That's the hotline number to call our Advocacy and Legal Advice Center. So just 4432 is a short code. If you are using Orange or Lone Star GSM, you can call. It's free of charge. So you can call the numbers to report issues about corruption, integrity related, legal advice. You can call. We have walk-in services. Center is just opposite the John F. Kennedy Medical Center on 22nd Street. You can come to a place. We have hotline numbers for the LACC. The numbers to call the LACC, which is the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. The numbers are 0555 395 728, 0555 395 728, or 4048. Or you can also call 0886 6050, 0886 6000, 0776 6050, 0776 6050. Those are the numbers to call to contact the Liberia Anti-Corruption. The Integrity Watch radio program is very civil and informative, with zero tolerance on the use of invectives and other denigrating comments. So guests appearing on this platform, they are guarded by the rule. Today, the Wednesday, April 27th edition of the program is going to be playing host to the Liberia Council of Churches, the LCC. So Reverend Christopher Wleh Toe, the first, is General Secretary of the Liberia Council of Churches. So he agreed to sit on the show to discuss the work of the LCC and how the LCC and the church in Liberia is working to promote the culture of so the chief scribe will be on the show this morning. He's on his way and he's going to be here this morning so that we can discuss of integrity in Liberia. So let us go to little things that matter. Our guest that we said is on his way coming, so he's going to be here very soon. He just called and said he's will be here in a few minutes. So as soon as he gets here, we're going to get started with the program. So before we do that, let us go to little things that matter. We want to greet His Excellency, the President of Liberia, Dr. George Weah, and the people of Liberia. We want to say good morning to all of you. We hope that everyone is doing well. And again, we have come to ask the President so that we can think about how we add value to public service. We believe that those who are employed in government, there should be something they should deliver to the workforce. So if we are employing people in government, it means that they have certain values that they will be adding to the employment, to the government pay or to the workforce. So there should be dignity of labor. If we talk about dignity of labor, it means that those equal work should be with equal pay, and people who come in to serve, they should have something valuable that they will offer to the government and people of Liberia. We should not employ people on the basis of partisanship. We should not employ people on the basis of job creation without looking out for value addition. So employment should be on the basis of value addition. It should be on the basis of what they're going to offer. And there should be TORs for those who are employed. Whatever position one occupies, there should be terms of reference so that every day or at the end of the month, that person can be able to report what they've done. What have you achieved over the period? And that can be added to the report of the minister or the director of that department. The director of the department will compile all of the reports from the different employees and put it together individually and put it together and send it to the minister or the director of that institution. And that and different marks. These people, when they come together, they gather all of the reports from individual employees, daily or weekly appraisals. So that's what we should bring into public service. Let us not make public service like a place where people can just go and just get money at end without adding something for what they are getting. People should be paid for what they offer. There shouldn't no free ride. There shouldn't be. So let's make sure that we add value to public service. People should not be, gathered at institutions and having nothing to do. They don't know why they are there. So that's what we want to do. Your Excellency, we need to do that so that we can make sure. Your Excellency, we need to be very frank and robust on the fight against corruption. We must commit ourselves and do it, match words with deeds. Thank you. We don't have much time, so we want to provide more time for our guests when he comes so that we can be able to have more time to deliberate on the role of the church in building integrity in our country. So we will jump over this one about speaking to the lawmakers. We understand that they are on break, so when they come back, we're going to resume this segment of the program. So let us go to elections. Elections in you. Next year, we are going to elections. So right now, the process leading to elections or processes that will lead us to elections are ongoing. But there's something specific I want us to talk about, which is provided in the Code of Conduct. The Code of Conduct prohibits public officials from, remaining in their position and vying for public offices. This thing about, disrespect for the rule of law is becoming concerning. We need to respect the rule of law. If the law provides that people who are occupying public offices should resign before contesting for public positions, let's live by the laws. The National Elections Commission should be able to ensure that people live by what the Code of Conduct provides. This Code of Conduct, for the record, was contested by Bond County Superintendent when she wanted to know the legality, the constitutionality of this particular law. It went to court, and the Supreme Court of Liberia ruled that this Code of Conduct is a law. So we must respect the rule of law. If we are committed to ensuring that our democracy flourishes, it means that we should do things that protect the democracy that we have. Or we should do things that protect the democracy that we have. We should not do things that will always undermine the efforts that we've made. We've made a lot of efforts in ensuring that there are control mechanisms. So these rules and different codes are intended to control how people conduct themselves. And in public service, if people are occupying positions as provided by the Code of Conduct, Section 5.1, it means that they should resign their positions. Hey, my people, we cannot live in a country that will not respect the rules that govern the nation and the people. It becomes lawless. A country will become lawless if the people are not respecting the rules and the constitution and the laws that are supposed to be abiding by. That's the reason why people will always go and create laws to be in their interests. My people, we need to respect the NEC, the National Elections Commission. Let's read what the law says here while our guest is on his way. Our guest is on his way, rather. So it says, Part 5, political participation. It says, all officials appointed by the President of the Republic of Liberia shall not A. engage in political activities, canvass or contest for elected offices, B. use government facilities, equipment, or resources to support in support of partisan or political activity. C. serve on a campaign team of any political party or the campaign of any independent candidate. People, this is what the law says. Fellow Liberians, this is what we have as the law. We see people and hearing people passing around, they are using public resources to go and run campaigns. We see posters are being posted on public buildings with early campaign messages. The NEC is expected to live in confines of the law and not always do things to cause, to disrespect the rule of law. We must do that and respect the rule of law. That's what the law says. The law says all look at in our subsequent broadcast. So let us take a break, technical break. When we come back, we're going to join our guests so that we can begin this program. Let's take a break. Quick break.
I'm sorry.
Welcome back. The break was necessary so that we can usher in our guests. Like we said, our guests on the program today is the General Secretary of the Liberia Council of Churches. He is Reverend Christopher Wleh Toe the First. Reverend, welcome to studio.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Let's begin our discussion by finding out how are you doing and how's your family doing? How is the LCC?
Yeah, the LCC is doing fine, and we are making sure that our 3 pillars are active in terms of witness, advocacy, and service.
Okay, let's just go straight to your 3 pillars to understand so that the public understand what those pillars are and what specific things are related under those pillars. What are they?
Okay, thank you very much. The 3 pillar witnessing. Witnessing has to do with the evangelism. That's when the church wins souls for Christ. And so this include the teaching of the word, transformation through education, And so we application and spiritual education. So tertiary, secondary, junior, middle, and elementary institutions into place, and provide our education. And so crusade, revival, tires, and that's the whole issue of the spiritual well-being of the people. That's witnessing. That pillar one.
Okay. Pillar two.
Pillar two is advocacy, and that's what brings us here. It's about speaking for the voice for the voiceless, and being there for the people, making sure that they're addressing the goals of sustainable development, looking at the issue of justice, currency. So those are issues of advocating for the rights of people, making sure that the rule of law is ensured, is carried out, that the basic social services people. That's our communal life with our people, reaching out to our people. Jesus asked Peter the question, Peter, do you love me? He said, Lord, you know I love you. He said, feed my sheep, take care of my sheep. And he said, feed my sheep again. That's the whole issue of food security. The church also meeting the needs of our people through clinical administration, providing health services to our people. So you see our churches having hospitals, having clinics, health centers. Those are all the services that we provide. We provide through services also through sanitation, making sure that, because cleanliness is next to godliness. And how can we work along with government and other actors to be able to make sure our places are clean, our country is clean, so that the service. Another service is the service of I talk about education, I talk about food, and I talk about, okay, those are the three things. Talk about education, talk about health, and I talk about food security, which is agriculture. So most of encouraging most of our churches to get involved in agriculture, because you don't feed the people only spiritually, but make them answer angry men.
Okay. Important witnessing, advocacy, and service. So I want us to look at advocacy.
Mhm.
That's one of the pillars that you have.
Yeah.
What are some of how do you engage in advocacy efforts as a church?
We have two strategic commissions at the Council of Churches: the Commission on Good Governance and Governmental Affairs, and then we have the Commission on Peace Consolidation. So at this commission level, our engagement, we look at the various the pillars. So we work on the issue of the Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay.
We look at the 17 goals, and right now we are doing a project that has to do with the Sustainable Development Goals, mobilizing churches' efforts. We're doing lobby and advocacy on the Sustainable Development Goals, but with specific emphasis on certain goals on Goal 10, reducing inequalities, looking at Goal 5, gender equality, looking at Goal 2, the issue of hunger, addressing the issue of hunger. That's food security I'm talking about. Looking at also the issue of climate change that's affecting our society today. Looking at Goal 16, justice, and strong institutions, being strong institutions. So we are engaged with the Ministry of Justice, trying to make sure that we look at the whole issue of justice, justice is met, the whole issue of security, how people, are provided security. So we engage, we have a lot of discussion with the Ministry of Justice. We engage with the National Legislature on the issue of health, on the issue even on budgetary allocations to strategic organizations within government, ministry, agency, or commissions, so that they can be supported. So we have done a lot of things, and a lot of good things have come out of it. Okay. But most time people will say, "Oh, what is this church doing?" We are doing a lot of things because our people who are there in the strategic positions, we are engaged with them. And so when you see things happening, that means the church is doing something.
So now let's go to let's start from the upper part. Is it a membership-based organization? I mean, you have members, different churches are part of it.
Yeah,
that I know.
It's a communion.
Okay. So then, you have members, institutions, and some of whom are working. Some of your pastors, bishops are working in government under this pillar, who are working in government, like you said, and they are helping to live. What are some efforts they are making to change the way things maybe so that we all can have a very robust system to work for us?
Thank you very much. And I just want to say this. You know, we are all children of God, and we are not perfect. And we are living asks us to do. So some of them are into political influence and political powers, while some think that the allegiance is to God first and also to man, who is their leader. So when you realize that God is the one who provides for you, who makes a way where there seems to be no way, even if men want to subject you, you can be able to say, "Man, you can have it. I know God will still give it to me." So there are some who are doing well in government, and there are some also who have some challenges, and they and to see how they can be able to distinguish who are we going to serve. Like Jesus, said, "Will you want to serve God or want to serve Mama?"
Okay, great. So let's come in. How accountable is the LCC to its members?
Okay, we receive funding from our donor partner, and we most of the funding we receive they are extended funding to carry our community work.
Mhm.
And in terms of accountability, we are open. The first thing is do that whenever we receive the funding, we inform all our constituency of what we receive. That's the first thing.
Mhm.
In terms of its application, where we'll be working, who are those that will be working.
Okay.
So when we are going into the counties, we engage our county structures and inform them of our being there and what is it that we are going to be doing there. And so they are there, they are following up also on the people on the ground. So whatever we're doing, we open up. So if we have a grant of 350,000, we say to the people, we have a grant of 350,000, and this is how they run. And every 6 months, we give account.
Okay.
We make reports to our partners. Also, every 3 months, we have executive meeting and we give account also to our executive council in terms of what we receive. What we receive locally from our dues and other things is that also yes, we are on course on that.
Most people guide process of to provide moral guardian. Most churches, the pastors are the one who control everything. They are the financial, the wives, and everybody just control everything in the church. And they are your members, some of them. How
Yeah.
do you try to ensure that some of your members are accountable to their members so that they can be accountable to the global the national network, which is the association, the Council of Churches?
Okay, we are not trying to shift blame, but I just want to give some clarity.
Mhm.
We are a communion of Protestant, Catholic, some evangelical, and some Pentecostal.
Certainly, yes. We know.
So if you look at in our the Catholic, the Protestant system,
Mhm.
we have order, strong order in terms of how our governance move are coming.
Mhm.
In some of the charismatic structure and the evangelical structure, they have their own form of governance in terms of how it rule,
Mhm.
in terms from up, the decisions come from up and goes down directly.
Yeah.
Uh, in other system of the churches, also the decisions are made by the people, and then the pastor implement or the bishop implement the decision. So in other areas, it go on the opposite. is the head that make the decision, and the people just have to follow.
Okay.
So I want you to know that you have to balance it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to balance it, and every church has its own structures and processes and procedure in terms of how to move further. But
Mm-hmm.
the Church of Jesus Christ is one.
Okay.
And the Church of Jesus Christ must be able to live up to
what Jesus asks us to do.
what Jesus asks us to do.
Okay.
And so, in terms of accountability, those who form themselves from, whether you come from the charismatic or evangelical or Pentecostal, you are answerable to God and answerable to the people. So, in our structure, that's why in our own structure from the Protestant,
Mm-hmm.
our wives are not treasurer. Our sons are now financial secretary. We have a system that a structure is based on professionalism. It's based on people ability to be able to perform.
Okay.
You know, they are competent. So the church hired them,
Okay.
and they work as accountants. They work as other people and other things like that. So if you have a structure in that way, I cannot say to you that the church may be perfect in its organization, but I'm saying to you how it's supposed to be. And so we as a church, this is what we're supposed to do and follow up.
So how do you encourage your members who may be, having this kind of structure which doesn't seem to be very accountable to the people? How do you encourage them so that we can have a structure that will be more accountable to the people, so that the people can see the church as a body that promotes the issue of accountability and good moral conduct?
Thank you very much. And that's what I'm saying now. The church of Jesus Christ, Jesus was one person who was very transparent and accountable. And so if we refer to ourselves as Christians, we must be able to practice the principles of transparency and accountability.
Sure.
So if we call for accountability, we should be able to check ourselves. When we call for transparency, we should be able to check ourselves and find out whether we have a check mark or we have a cross mark. So I would say to every church that's listening under my voice is that put into place a system of check and balance. You have a monetary aspect, you have accountability aspect, and you also have an administrative aspect.
Okay.
So, and you have that spiritual aspect that helps both all the various aspects of the church, because the spiritual side is to be able to say to the person, remember, thou shalt not steal.
Okay. Sure.
So you cannot say, oh yeah, thou shalt not steal, but in terms of practice, the man who is a member of the church, he hears the pastor say thou shalt not steal. But he's in the government, he's in the private sector, he's in the civil society, but he just stealing.
Okay.
And so because the majority of the people in this country, in terms of our population, are members of the church. And when these things happen in our society, it's not only in the government, it happens in the various sectors of our society. When corruption takes place, it goes and it affects the very fabric of the society, every fabric of society. So the baseline is to be able to deal with it at the family and the church level.
Mm-hmm.
So when it gets to the community, there's a transformation that takes place.
Do you see the church as one of the surest or one of the strongest mechanisms in ensuring that the issue about transparency and accountability, the culture of integrity is breathed in our country? One of the key, the surest mediums through which we can be.
The church should be that foundation.
Okay.
The church must be that foundation. Not only must be that foundation.
Is it?
Huh?
Is it?
The church is that foundation. What is happening is that those who are in the church are not listening.
Okay.
There's something about listening
In doing.
and hearing.
Okay.
There are some people who can hear you, just hear, but they don't listen.
Okay.
So if you listen to what the Spirit has to say, it will have an effect on you.
Okay.
But when you can just hear, it passes one side, it passes on the other side. So, oh man, don't mind that thing I put talking. That man say he correct. If you listen to what the word says, it talks about what you need to do and to have transformation, and you apply it, you will see the difference in your life.
Okay.
But if you just decide to just hear,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I will just go to church and hear, And because the pastor preached on accountability and you are a government official or you come from the civil society or you come from the church and you feel the pastor is preaching against you, you change your church.
Is that the reason why the churches nowadays, they understand, they see some of these people, they for instance, somebody is in your church, the person was trying to contribute gradually, but later on they got a government job and they are the highest contributor in the church, and they living flamboyantly and doing things that they didn't do a few years ago. And the church is not, and we're honoring some of those people in our churches. We're giving them high honor, we give them high regard over people who are honestly, contributing in the church. So how do we chastise people and show that we as a church, we're supposed to make sure that people live morally upright?
I want to say the church is a clinic.
Of course, yes.
It's a hospital for sick souls. So people who go to the church, there are some people who are sick, and there are some people who are well, and they go to visit those who are sick.
Yeah.
Okay, so take the church as that. So there are people in the church who are sick. And what Jesus is saying, if you think you are righteous, I cannot for you a king to bring sinners unto repentance. Yes, we are staying in the church. There are people, yes, righteous people in the church. There are people also who are messed up in the church. They need some transformation. And God now some of these people
within the twinkling of an eye.
Even the twinkling of an eye. It's because they've been in the church, but they are not saved. I want to tell you about salvation. If they are saved by the grace of God, they know what salvation means, they know what it means by your life being transformed. That miracle that takes place in your life, you remember where you come from, and you'll be able to address. But because they are not saved, they are just churchgoers. They went there because they wanted for people to see them, to be a part of the clinic. They're sick. They've just been there. They're taking medication, they can get well. But there's people who go to the hospital and get well.
Okay, you're listening to the program Integrity Watch. It's a 1-hour radio program brought to you by the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. It is aired every Wednesday on Truth 96.1 FM. And a repeat of the program will be on Sunday from 9 to 10 p.m. So today we have as our guest Reverend Christopher Wleh Toe, the first rather. He is the General Secretary of the Liberia Council of Churches. So we are discussing the role of the church in the building of culture of integrity in our viewers on Facebook. Please leave your comments on Integrity under our live feed, Integrity TV. You can just leave your comments. And some of my colleagues from Malawi, from Zambia, from other countries, they were interested. They told me that they were going to be following. If you are following, please, you can leave your comments. Let's have this conversation together. I know my colleague there in Malawi is following, and let's have this conversation together. So, Reverend, let's understand something. Does the LCC have any humanitarian arm?
Okay, yes, we have a humanitarian arm. We call it the Migration Emergency Response Committee.
Okay.
Okay, and that committee, we have worked along the time of the COVID, beginning of the COVID, and we have provided some food for people. So we did not only go and talk to our people about COVID. COVID is real, keep the rules, but we also provided some food for them during the time of their needs. The Council of Churches also, we are engaged with a businessman in Liberia called Chetty, University Church. And we are working on this feeding program. We have engaged with him, and we want to see how we can expand it. Feeding the less fortunate and the Zogos. So that is going on every day. Feed over 300 persons in the Valentine community, in the West Point River community. And we're trying to work out with Jetty to see how we can expand that. And we installed him as a humanitarian to carry such a great initiative. And I want you to know that Jetty, from his spiritual religious background, that background teaches him to do that.
Okay.
And so no one should think that Jetty is doing it because of political reason. It's what his religion teaches him, to reach to the unreached, to reach to the people who needs help. And so if you know you're Christian also, and Jesus says you should reach to the poor, to transform the issue, transform society, go to the people who are hungry and feed them. So politicians, business people, whoever you are, church people, we need to do the same thing.
I'll give example of the institution I work with, the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, for reasons that are very obvious, very, very obvious, doesn't take money from government sources to implement any project or do anything.
Yeah.
Because the LCC has any rule in place to prohibit receiving of funds from maybe questionable or whatever source that may not be very clear to your work.
Yes, if the funding that comes in is questionable, yes, we will not receive it. But if there is a funding that has to do with building the society, transformation of society, I want you to know that there is nothing. I'll give you the story. Let me get the story.
Okay.
This guy went to, there was a church. I will not call what kind of church is that. And this guy was a billionaire in the church. But he had a refinery.
Okay.
I was producing, a lot of alcohol and everything. And he brought millions of dollars and gave it to the church as a tithe. And so some of the members came and questioned. They said, but this guy has a refinery. The pastor said, yes, I know that he has a refinery. He said, but we're not supposed to receive that money. He said, look at that money. It's refinery on that money. The money is about to transform society.
Okay.
So it's what you do with the money. That is what, but somebody cannot kill, they give you money, you take that killing. I'm just trying to make a joke.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to say in other words is that I want you to know that we are all part of government.
Yeah, we are. We're
In
coming
terms
to the
of
governance
democracy.
point.
Yeah,
That's
in terms of democracy. We're government of the people, by the people. We're for the people. It's us that pay our tax. So I'm riding on that road, they're fixing that road, my money is here. So I can boast that I'm contributing to the development of this country.
Yes.
I go to the supermarket, I buy a lot of food, I organize meetings there, and I pay VAT, value-added taxes.
Yeah.
And I'm contributing to society. So you cannot tell me that my taxes I pay, I cannot benefit from my taxes. Besides that, I'm an owner of this country. All the resources are also entitled to the resources, but I give it to a few persons to manage it. So they do not entitle to the resources more than I do. So even the funding that I'm receiving as a grant from other country are people tax-paying money that they give to me.
Of course.
So if they can give the tax-paying money to me, what happened to my own taxes that I pay here? So portion of that taxes cannot get to me to help transform a society.
Do you also agree that?
So so I would say that government can even bring $1 million and give it to the Council of Churches to carry out, let's say, peace consolidation work, what about the reconciliation initiative in the country. That would not stop us from talking. We know that it belongs to us.
Okay. So let's understand on the issue of governance. Are you satisfied, or is the Council of Churches satisfied with the governance of our country right now?
Governance is challenging.
Where do you see
not the issue of satisfaction? And even the past government, before they left, they told us they failed the country in reconciliation and in dealing with the issue of corruption. They say this is where we fail. Although we as a country, we have not even gone to evaluate them, the report card and say,
okay,
this is where we think you fail. Okay. But they came up first and say, this is where we fail you. We're not able to reconcile you as a people. And then we thought we would deal with corruption, but it becomes a vampire for us. It's endemic. It's affected the very fabric of our society. So we could not even fight corruption. We thought we could do it. So a new government came in, and his first pronouncement, he says that it will address the issue of corruption. They were fighting corruption. It was a statement of transformation. If Ellen Johnson So when company, now let's look at the institutions that we put into place. The anti-graft institutions. We put into place the Governance Commission. We put into place the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. We put into place the Independent National Commission on Human Rights. We put into place all the General Auditing Commissions, all the different things we put into place to be able to help us to get our place stable and make some transformation in our society. Are they functioning as we expect? I asked the other day, the LACC, do you have subpoena power? Yes. Why you are not effecting your subpoena power? You don't have subpoena power. I asked the Elections Commission the other day, are you very independent? They said, yes, we are independent. The National Elections Commission. I said, okay, why are you not exercising your independence? So the issue is with us, because most of us, we don't come to these positions with our, with our integrity, with our, we talk about proficiency, with our education or our competence, and this is our competence. And so other people just push us there, so we think that we.
So what is the role of the church in ensuring, because it takes us back to the question I asked you initially about people who are, because most of the people who are found in different public positions in different public areas, they are either in the mosque or in the church. They are part of certain religion. So they go there and we are not speaking to them frankly. Most of the messages that we preach in our churches are not more about salvation, but more about prosperity. But how do we prosper? We don't give the how. So what is the role of the church in ensuring that we address this issue about?
I think the church should be able to speak on the aims of society, and also you talk about prosperity. Prosperity is not anything bad. You need to tell somebody that they're not supposed to be poor all the days of their life. But also you need to tell them
how do they get rich?
That when you get rich, you don't forget about the poor.
Okay.
And you live as a Christian, as a rich person to transform the world. So we celebrate them when they get the new positions. And also we don't, some of the challenges that we have is that we don't provide them those that keeps them. We live in the field, good fruits, they are mixed up on the tares.
Okay.
They are mixed up on the tares. And so when they get mixed up on the tares, then because they get money and power, they are so much for us. So then some of the pastors get frustrated. The only thing they can do is to preach. To preach on the issue of the ills, of the corruption. And so some of these persons also who feel that who are members, they also leave the church and go to another church where they only hear about prosperity and not also.
You are listening to the program Integrity What? It's a 1-hour radio program brought to you by the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. It is aired every Wednesday on Truth 96.1 FM. So today we have the General Secretary of the Liberia Council of Churches in our studio today, and we're talking about the role of the church in building the culture for integrity in Liberia. So if you are there and you are following us on Integrity TV, like we said, you can leave your comments. And if you are listening to us via radio, we can now open the line so that you can call and be part of the program. The numbers to call 077-0175-162, 077-0175-162, or you can call the number 0886-474563, 0886-474563. Those are the numbers to call to be live on the program Integrity Watch. The numbers to call to be live on the program Integrity Watch, like we said, it is supported and sponsored by the government and people of Sweden through the Swedish International Development Corporation Agency, or SIDA. So the numbers to call 077-01-75162, 077-01-75162, or you can call the number, the Lone Star number, 0886-474563. Those are the numbers to call to be live on the program Integrity Watch. So you just talked about the Governance Commission. I want to say thanks to the President for appointing. We were talking about that so that we can have somebody appointed to that particular integrity institution. And the President finally appointed somebody for that position. Thank you, Your Excellency. We have a caller on the line.
Yeah, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Karen Myers calling from Louisiana, from Junior Police Field.
Henry, let's hear you. Just lower the volume of the radio so that we can have the discussion.
I wait for it.
Let's hear you. Make your point.
Yeah, I am in the studio, all we are like doing.
Yes,
The
we are.
country is a fragile country where warfare and United Nations can spend billions of dollars to keep one money out of their hand. The democracy of this country is need to be clean. We now want progress. You see, Guinea, Burkina Faso, West Africa shaking, America running. So we're appealing to the election commission. One, let's see what she wants to do, but let's see do it clean. She will not bring progress. The thing happening in local country will break you up. Let's see go back on table what she wants to tell the election to next year 2023. Let's see go on the table and for the justice minister, the president.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. The number to call 077-01-75162, 077-01-75162. 1 hour radio program brought to you for transparency and accountability in Liberia. We have another caller on this line. Let's take this caller. Good morning. Your name and where are you calling from? Evangelist Numa?
Yeah.
Let's hear you. Make your point.
Yeah, the problem about all this thing that going on, our leader that we should to be as a leader for the religion, be it the council, the Christian, they are not standing for the truth.
Okay.
They are not standing for the truth. They are not there to seek the interest of the people, neither to even represent what God has done. So they don't know their own function.
Okay.
They already have to go there because the government, Jesus came with the government on his shoulder. They don't need to bow to the government. They are, I could spend one time when Bishop Dr. Wleh came in Liberia here. This wingers, I think wingers, yeah, Bishop,
Bishop,
he never understood. He told him that you are the papa of the land, but you are not doing what God wants you to do. In fact, I have come to that structure in that world. But the advantage of the children of the president, taking control ground, he's letting the children of the president, he's not standing free for the truth. They are seeing things that are going wrong. The election commission that is being corrupt, they have been tried. And look at it when the king kind of clear, when kind of clear everything up, look at what going on in Lupa. Everybody, the whole one that
okay, thank you, Evangelist. Thank you. Let's take other people to make their point. Thank you so much. Your points are well noted. The church needs to be robust. We have another caller on the line. Good morning. Your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning. My name is Adama Kumai. I'm calling from Congo.
Adama, let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for your seriousness. You know, we are talking about integrity, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, sometimes because I always monitor the integrity, program on the show. Liberians, none of us, even the young people, anybody that wants to play your integrity or you want to be straight, people think you like you are a bad person.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank God if on a religious background. So I don't know the religious community what they can do for this country because it comes to integrity. It's not easy. If one person in an institution want to be an integrity,
so the question is, what is the role of the religious community in building the culture of integrity? Is that what you're trying to ask? Okay, that question is clear. So we can just leave it at that and take another caller.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Your name and where are you calling from? Please lower the volume of your radio. Good morning. Okay, let's hear you. Please lower the volume of your radio so that we can hear you. Yeah, let's hear you now.
Yes, okay. I'd like to thank the Reverend Studio there for his deliberation. He answered the questions and expressed the issue very well.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to speak to the issue of prosperity that people always criticize the church about.
Mm-hmm.
For a person to think that the creator of the whole world created the heavens and the earth with the goals and the savors only to be in the hands of wicked people is something that we should not really allow the public to criticize the church about.
Okay.
When it comes to the issue of prosperity, it should be in the hands of the church.
Okay.
Because the church is not there for humanitarian activities. The church is not there for building schools, clinics, and hospitals. And the church is doing a lot of things when it comes to the issue of people being hopeless. Church go after them, help them, and do other things to make sacrifices for the salvation of theirs. Salvation is holistic; it's not just going to heaven. And so, prosperity is part of the gospel, and we must preach it as much as we will preach about saying other things. So, I just wanted to intimate that if you understand it.
I think that there are things that you need to do to prosper, not just coming out of the blue sky. Tell the people how. We're not criticizing, but we are telling so that we do it side by side. Salvation is very important as well. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. I'm sure that you listen only to one or two persons. You are not listening to all of the preachers.
Okay.
Even the one you listen to, you are not listening to all of their sermons.
Okay.
If you listen to prosperity one time, there are other issues that they preach, and that comes to God's urging the preacher to determine which to preach at that particular time.
Okay, sir.
So I believe other issues are stretched also. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Your points are well noted.
You're welcome.
All right, so we'll give our guests the time to respond to make comments and respond to some of the concerns. You listen to the callers, and maybe you want to say something to what they have said.
Yeah, the first caller raised the issue about concern on security the national elections in the low-fat scenario. We want to say to you and to Liberian people that the Council of Churches is engaged with the National Elections Commission. We are concerned about what is happening. We have been also engaged with the executive branch of government on this. We have also been engaged with the actors who are presently in court. You know, when matters go into court, you got to allow the court to exercise, jurisprudence on that matter. And we as the church cannot interfere into the court matter. We can be prayerful that the judge will render the best decision. We can raise a flag in terms of what we think that in terms of justice and rendering the right justice to be. So that's the kind of road. And those people who are there making the judgment into the churches in the courts, most of them are also.
This as your final caller. Good morning. Your name and where are you calling from? Hello. Good morning.
It's our prayer, as being the representative influences, a government official and to hold high offices. And there's one thing also to know that before even you were nominated, God has spoken to the mind of somebody. And the first thing you should recognize that it is God who has made me to get this position and not I. So when you get to that level, you need to be able to be frank and stand for God and also stand for the state and also those that you represent. I gave you a point in case. There's one government official, I will not mention his name now, but working within the previous government, he was one person and was saying that I cannot do this. If you want to do it, yes, what I cannot do this because it has some effect on me and it will have effect on the country tomorrow. What can I comment to a staff freshman church is that Christ has called us to the ministry of reconciliation, called to the ministry of peace, and called to the ministry of accountability. Our people look up to us as the light. So let us do everything that we can to represent them. However, on the other side, we want to say to them that everyone has a key, has a chance, opportunity for them. So don't take the spirit of church where you have 500 members. Sometimes there are only 2 when you blunder. It's the church that blunders. Don't blame the pastor, don't blame the bishop. They are saying to you what you're supposed to do. They're supposed to do what they're supposed to do. Say also, do also. Let them do it. So when we do everything for our own end, we see that society.
Thank you. That's the voice of the General Secretary of the Liberia Council of Churches. And he is Reverend Wleh Toe first, and he has been our guest today on the program Targeted Watch, the 1-hour radio program brought to you by Central. My name is Sam Zota. I'm the Media and Communications Officer at Central. My colleague Mark Wandau has been behind the camera making sure our visibility goes beyond the studio on Targeted. Join us next week for another edition of the program. Let us till Sunday, the program from 9 to 10 p.m. Join us.
So when there's a